For the best Italian food in Western New York, Elliot Apollo's, call 716-825-3675. The Lardon Construction Group.
Fubo TV, the official streaming service of Do Champions. FanDuel, the official sportsbook of Do Champions.
For all your summertime needs, beauty pools, as well as kayak pools.
CX Chronicles, your total customer solutions focused manager. W.GG, the official energy drink of Do Champions.
Hey, Sons of Erie, our artwork looks better on your walls. Hamburg Brewing, please visit our tap room on Boston State Road, Hamburg, New York. And finally,
Fat Boy Surf Club for all your surfing needs.
What is up? Welcome to the Buffalo Combat Zone. You have the law offices of Alex and Alex tonight. We don't have Randall. He is actually out sick. He's watching right now, though, I'm sure. That's why you're getting the different name tags below as well, because ours is set up for 3 people. So just to prep people for that, they don't see the normal stuff below us. How's it going, Alex?
It's going great. Didn't have a terrible day today. Work wasn't awful, so I'm in a little bit better mood than last week when I was just kind of rushing around to get things done.
Yeah, absolutely. What'd you think of the game this week? I know that we finally got the win. So what were your feelings on what happened?
Win was cool. I've been feeling Tyrell Shavers may have solidified himself a roster spot with that catch.
Mm-hmm.
He played another great game by him. The D-line looked good again. I mean, Michael Hoyt and Deion Walker were dominating. Granted, they're playing mostly backups and third stringers, but it's better to see them look good than bad. I won't put too much into it for the fact of who they were playing, but again, I'd rather see players look good than bad. So that
absolutely
was nice to see.
I'm trying to fix my camera. I don't know why it's getting blurry like this.
Yeah, it's like out of focus.
It is out of focus. I don't know what's going on with it. I'm just going to leave it as is. It'll refocus itself here shortly. Yeah, I agree. I think that the Tyrell Shavers thing, I actually made a tweet about it afterwards. I thought that he solidified his position on the team. The not having Curtis Samuel there is kind of concerning as far as the his momentum. He was ready to play and then got sick. I feel like that I don't know if it signals his way out, but it definitely makes it shaky ground for him where otherwise it wouldn't have been. Elijah Moore played okay. I feel like this wide receiver position is going to get interesting sooner than later. I don't know if we'll keep 6, but I think we kind of have to if we want to keep Shavers and Elijah Moore on the team. I don't think unless Samuel gets traded like you want him to.
Yeah. Sorry, I think my internet's kind of cutting in and out right now. But one thing I want to say is people out there saying Elijah Moore should get cut. Oh, I don't want Elijah Moore on this roster. I think he might get cut. You guys are reading way too much into preseason. He has yet to play a snap with Josh Allen as his quarterback. Until that happens, anything else is meaningless. It really is, because they throw the ball differently. One, it's preseason. I doubt he's going 100%, which, I mean, they should be going 100% at all times, but like the focus probably isn't fully there. He's not with Josh, and just things like that. It's like, it's preseason. People struggle in the preseason sometimes. Like I remember, what was it, 2023 going into that season, that Steelers game, I saw Spencer Brown get dominated. I'm like, oh God, this is going to be bad. This O-line is going to be awful. I saw the linebacking core be awful that same game. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a long season. And then our linebacking core and our tackle group ended up being like 2 of our strengths of that season.
Yep.
Sometimes preseason it's cool to see players play well, but really preseason's is just getting through some reps, knocking off steam, and for the guys trying to make a roster spot to see if they can show enough. Elijah Moore should have a safe spot on this team. He has proven it in the regular season in games that actually matter. He is a quality wide receiver depth piece. I'm not saying he's this elite wide receiver 1 or 2 or anything like that, but if he's a wide receiver 4 or 5 on your team, you have a very deep room, and that's what he is on our team. He should be the solidified wide receiver 4, and anyone who doesn't think he should make the team, go watch him play in actual NFL games compared to the other wide receivers that have never been able to play in NFL games because they can't even make rosters that they're battling with. Like, and it's not like it's a couple years ago. Elijah Moore had a decent year last year, and I just find it frustrating seeing all these people say, "Oh, he shouldn't make this team. He should get caught. He should get traded." It just is baffling to me.
Yeah, and we don't see all the reps. Most of these people are basing their opinion on Elijah Moore making the team from preseason snaps, where, I mean, I think those are less impactful than the joint practices in which he was really effective in those games, and amongst all the reports that we've heard, right? So when we talk about preseason games, you see a drop or two that happened, 2 games ago against a team he was kind of dicing up in the first half of that practice based on the reports that we heard, right? It's hard playing with, especially with both of their quarterbacks playing pretty poor games, both of them. All 3 of them played really bad that game. It's just the timing and everything. I think it's just without Josh Allen with him on the field, it's going to look a little bit different for him anyway. I don't think it's anything with RPMs on the ball from Josh, because I've heard that too, where they're like Josh throws the more velocity thing. I don't think any of that matters. I think it's a timing thing. I think that the routes he's running, he might be a little late on, even though he's open, kind of like the Mitch Trubisky missing the throw when he was going over the middle, where everyone's always like 30 yards downfield and everyone can see he's wide open, right? I just think that we see very little, and we're making big judgments on a guy that I think is pretty much a shoe-in to make this football team. KJ Hamler's looked pretty good, but I think we've seen what we think of him. They want him to be a priority practice squad guy who can come in and fill in as like our 3rd slot guy. I don't think they want him to do what Moore can do, because Moore can do kind of the Shakir stuff, but also a little bit more. I think he's just maybe not quite as good at the Shakir stuff as Shakir is, because he's one of the best in the league in those categories. So I think that that's really what people are seeing there. I think Curtis Samuel's more likely on the outside looking, and honestly, because he hasn't shown us absolutely anything, right? He's been hurt the entire preseason time or entire offseason, right? So I think he's much more likely to be traded. But I kind of err on the side of none of them are going to be traded. I think they're just going to roster them and figure out where it goes from there.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think with all the injuries and suspensions, I'm kind of leaning that way. But I don't think we keep 6 the entire season because. I mean, we have the 2 suspensions with Hoyt and Ogunjobi. Then we have probably Maxwell Harrison and Cedric Van Granger are probably going to be on some sort of injury like a PUP or an IR. Those aren't roster spots either. When all 4 of those guys come back, those are roster spots you got to find room for. Yep. And I don't think with those guys back, we're going to keep 6 wide receivers. So Curtis Samuel, I think he's still the most likely to go, because if you get rid of Tyrell Shavers, he is scooped up immediately, and Elijah Moore is just too good to cut. It's really between Shavers and Samuel, in my opinion. And I think Shavers, with how young he is, you want to keep him. Samuel is older, and it's not even me being anti-Samuel. I still think he could be a quality receiver, but at that cap, the value is there. If you're keeping wide receivers, there's so much more value in keeping Shavers over Samuel, because that money you save, you can spend at the trade deadline, or you can spend picking up free agents. You just have the flexibility to do more things if you have that cap space opened up versus trying to penny pinch.
Right. I agree with that too. I just think Curtis Samuel is the best ability is availability. And I think that they've lost trust in him a little bit. Right. I think that's part of the situation. Like, we've dealt with injuries when he played most of the year last year, but he was hurt while he was playing the majority of the time. Soft tissue injuries. He's got more soft tissue injuries. He's always had soft tissue injuries throughout his whole career. It's just a problem at this point. And honestly, like, I hate to be like this, but it's convenient that he was sick, right? No, I think it's convenient. I don't know. I don't want to be conspiracy theorists here, but it's kind of convenient he was sick for this game when it was like the first one he's ready to be back. Like, it feels like a guy calling out of work a whole bunch of times. He just keeps getting excuses to get called out. Yeah. But I mean, I'm not saying that. I mean, I'm saying that in jest, but
looks like Randall agrees with you.
Yeah. Okay. See, that's what it felt like. I was sitting there going, wait, he's sick now after everything? Like, it doesn't feel right. It's either that or the team's told him already, like, we're trading you, right? I mean, I think that's a possibility. I didn't think that was really a possibility before, but there's a lot of people hunting for receivers at this point. I think it's definitely absolutely.
The Raiders, especially if the Raiders trade Jacoby Myers, they're going to need to have something at wide receiver. A wide receiver room of Trey Tucker, Jack Besh, and Deontay Thornton might be one of the worst in recent memory.
Yeah.
If they trade Jacoby Myers away, I mean, if you have Brock Bowers in fantasy, you're going to be pretty happy because he's going to get 30 targets a game. So he could be triple teamed. It's better than throwing it to the other guys.
And Ashton Genty hasn't looked good in preseason at all. So I don't think we can really use that. He is averaging like 3 yards a carry is what I saw yesterday.
I thought his first game was not great, but this last game, I know he had the one truck. He had like a 15-yarder where he just completely ran the dude just straight over.
Mm-hmm.
I think he had a touchdown. I mean, he doesn't look
He'll
great,
be fine.
But again, it's also preseason. Yeah,
it's preseason. I'm kidding partially.
Oh, okay.
Steve Noble says here, wide receiver room will be Shakir, Coleman, Palmer, Samuel, Shavers, and more. Chenault to the practice squad. Codrington are all around. See, I wanted to comment on this while I put it on the board before we get into our next segment. I don't agree with this Codrington thing that he's this amazing returner. You show me the statistics on that. His punt return average was ranked 6th or 7th. That's pretty good. That's not elite though, like some people are saying. And his kick return average is garbage. It's like near like what was it 20? It was 20 something ranked. I'm like, it's not like he's he's not Devin Hester out there. I think Chenault could easily fill the void. I think if we trade Curtis Samuel, Chenault's a much better, more logical person to make the team, so we can cut Codrington and replace him with an actual corner that can play corner, and then we'll run with 6 receivers still, and then you have 2 receivers playing special teams. I think that's a better option, and Chenault can do a lot of the things Samuel can do. He's just not quite as good at it.
See, my thing is when it comes to that returner spot, I legitimately do not care what you are. You could be legitimately the worst player. You could be not even a good high school player at that position. Mm-hmm. But if you can return, it's all I care is who I think is the better returner. I just would, and I think Codrington is better. I don't care about what else he can do because at the position, you just keep Codrington can be cornerback outside CB5. You keep 7 corners then where he is not playing in basically any scenario where and this is even if you have like Cam Lewis and Hancock's that at like safety positions, they're also corners. Like you have them like 8th or 9th on the depth chart in this scenario where there is no chance he's seeing any time on the field as a corner. And then you have him as the returner. So
my major concern with that is now that we're so thin at corner, potentially thin, we don't have any kind of scoop on Trey White that I think is worth anything at this point. And most people have heard this already, but they said that they're waiting on an MRI, and like 4 days later, I don't understand why that's a thing. I feel like that's not real. I think they're just telling you things so you can tell you stuff. There's no real information. That just sounds shady to me. I feel like it's a little bit concerning on his ability to start, and Maxwell Harrison's clearly not ready to start. I can't see 2 weeks changing that. Maybe ready to practice in 2 weeks, but I don't know if he's ready for week 1 either. So now we're stuck with down 2 boundary corners, and like we're going to start Dane or Ingram at the other corner. I feel like that's going to be a scary proposition based on everyone behind. Like there's no one else. I mean, Dorian Strong can play, I guess, but I just feel like we're really thin, and I feel like Codrington really complicates that issue. That's just how I feel about it. I'm scared of it at this point, you know?
Yeah, see, I'm not. I just think you bury him enough in the depth chart where there's no chance he sees the light of field as a corner.
Sure.
And you just have him as a pure special teamser. And I think he is better than Chenault, because Chenault might be a tad bit better as a kick returner. They're probably about even. But Chenault can't return punts, and Codrington is a good punt returner.
Have we seen him return a whole lot of punts?
I don't think we have, because I don't think he can do it very well. I think he's a pure kick returner. Codrington can at least do both.
It's a different skill set for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so that kind of takes it. We're debating players right now. The reason the title of this show is what it is because we got into a group chat discussion about.
We'll go with discussion.
Dalton Kincaid and Keon Coleman, and who has, I guess, more upside is the question. But what is the outlook for their careers, and who's been more or less disappointing at this? I guess got thrown into it, right? But that's the gist of it, because you were the one mainly involved in the discussion.
Yes. So basically, like, the argument was there was someone in there that was kind of dissing Kincaid a little bit, and as a big Coleman fan, which it's all right, people have their opinions, and I just disagreed. And we got in this big argument, and this wasn't even me saying like I think Kincaid is like so much better than Coleman. It was more so I just think that when you're looking at the two players, they just seem very similar to me. Mm-hmm. But I will take Kincaid due to what is each their biggest limitation right now. Coleman, he's not a good separator. Kincaid, he's not a good blocker. And those are important things. My thought is, which is easier to fix? Being a separator as a wide receiver or a blocker as a tight end? I think it's easier to become a better blocker than it is to become a better separator.
I agree.
And I think Kincaid can fix that by putting on more muscle and refining his technique. Good thing is Jackson Hawes and Dawson Knox are probably two of the best tight end blockers in the league. You work with Aaron Cromer, who's obviously a great offensive line coach, with very good offensive line. Kincaid's in a system where he can learn how to block and get a lot better at it. And he has shown before. It's not like he has shown he can never block. Like, it's not like he is showing he is just a wide receiver. Like, he's shown he can block. Mm-hmm. It's just consistency. And that's why he hasn't seen the field as much as we'd like, because when he was drafted, it was a different system. It was Ken Dorsey's system. He wanted to run a lot of 12 personnel with an inline blocker and then the tight end as the receiver. Knox was the blocker. Kincaid was the receiver. And then especially when Knox got injured, you saw Kincaid take off. He had some really good games. The New England game, the Cincinnati game. There's another game in there that I'm missing, but it ended up being where, even though he was only a full-time starter for not even half the season, he ended up being top 10 all time in rookie wide receiver tight end yardage, which is a little bit misleading because the tight end has really boomed recently. So a lot of those, and also tight ends don't always break out right away. Yeah, the bar is not super high, and tight ends are a position that don't always break out right away. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it was nice to see. He had a really good year. And then last year, it's Joe Brady comes in, fully implements his system, and you see him, he's not getting used as much. He's battling knee injuries, and it's because Joe Brady doesn't use 12 personnel as much. He'd rather use the 6 offensive linemen or something like that, or he would just have more wide receivers on the field. He just doesn't see the value, I guess, as much in 12 personnel as Ken Dorsey. So with Kincaid not being a great blocker, Knox got a lot of reps. So Kincaid didn't see the field as much. When he did, teams kind of knew more. It was past situations. And Kincaid was dealing with the knee injuries, and he just hasn't developed as a blocker. So he struggled. But you can't put all the blame on him. I'm sure everyone's seen the stat. He did have the lowest catchable ball rate in the league last year. Just for some reason, him and Josh's connection just wasn't on point, which you got to give some blame to Josh there. Like, he missed some throws to Kincaid for sure. Obviously, the Indy game, everyone points at. So I think when you just kind of look at that as a whole, and you see where Kincaid kind of just last year just had a lot of things go wrong, and it was in year one in a new system. And then this offseason, what was all the reports? He was in town training, weightlifting. He put on, before training camp even started, he put on like 10 pounds is what I heard. Mm-hmm. Before training camp even started, wanted to put on another 5. 15 pounds in one offseason, decent amount of that is muscle. Like, he's putting on a lot of muscle, putting on weight. That should help him as a blocker a lot. Sure. And I think that helps him take that step because Joe Brady loves blocking tight ends, where I still don't know if he's going to put up the numbers just because of us having Knox. He's not going to see the field enough, but I think he will be much more effective and efficient when he's on the field than Coleman will. Because while Coleman has looked great in camp, and it's nice to see, one, it's training camp and preseason. It's nice, but it doesn't mean a whole lot. And two, a lot of the plays he's making is highlight reel catches, which is what we already knew he could do. He still hasn't shown he can he still hasn't shown he can create consistent separation. While do I think he's better than he was last year? Yes. He's still not good at it. He's still not good at creating separation, but he's gotten better at body placement and high pointing the ball, which again should help. Sure. And that's where it's like, I think Kincaid has improved more as a blocker than Coleman has as a separator. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where I think Kincaid will reach his upside closer than Coleman. I mean, obviously, I want everyone to reach their upside. I want everyone to be the best player ever for the Bills. Mm-hmm. But this is just how I'm viewing things as of right now.
So I have a similar take, I guess. I mean, I'm admittedly not a giant fan of either one of these players. Okay. But I'm rooting to be wrong in this case. I'd really love for both of them to be fantastic. I'd love for Keon to be the next T. Higgins and Kincaid to be the next Kelsey, right? And there are some flashes there with both of them, kind of discount versions at this point, because we don't really know what they're going to do. However, I feel like I think it's more important for Kincaid to be the guy. I don't think Keon could ever be a high volume target. I think that that's just not his game. When you're not a separator, you're relying on low percentage passes all the time. Not all the time, but a lot of the time. You have 50-50 balls a lot. You got to be really good at those. He wasn't good at them last year on a percentage basis. He has the majority of his catches have come on highlight reels in what we see. Most of the time when he's beating someone, let's be honest, he's beat safeties. He's beating Ingram. He's beating Dorian Strong. He's beating Maxwell Hairston. He's beating Dane Jackson. He's not beating Benford very often. There's been a couple of instances where he did beat him, but it's not super duper common. And that's rightfully so. Benford's a really good corner, probably he's playing a little out of his depth playing against Benford in the first place, right? But a lot of what we're seeing is he's not creating a lot of separation against these other guys either, unless there's some sort of busted coverage like we saw in the Chicago Bears joint practice where he's just running wide open after release against a guy who hasn't played football in 2 years, by the way. That's the guy he beat, Deshaun Wright, I think is who it was. He hadn't played at all in 2024, and he wasn't that good beforehand. So, of course he beats him. I'm glad he did. I'm hoping he can victimize players that aren't on the level. Like last year, he was having troubles with normal guys who were just kind of run-of-the-mill corners. I think this year, if we can victimize, if he's got mismatches, if he can take advantage of them, I think that's a good thing. But he's never going to be this 100. I hope he is, but I just don't see him ever being a 100-target guy. I think he's probably in the 70 to 80 range most of the time is what is probably his prime area. And you can just look at it from basic math, right? Average, the middle tier quarterback in the NFL completes about 64 to 65% of his throws. If you're throwing a bunch of 50-50 balls and they're coming down 50-50, which is actually pretty good because those are really tough catches. It's easier to get the incompletion to get the actual throw in those cases. You're still way below an efficiency standard in which the quarterback has on a play-to-play basis, right? So it'd behoove him to go in a different direction than Keon a lot of the time, unless he has just a really good matchup for him. And I just don't think he's going to get enough separation regularly to get 100 targets. He doesn't have enough of manufactured touch ability either. A lot of his yards after catch are based upon I just think the other team's just not ready for it in some respects. And I think because of that, he's getting good yak after these plays. But I don't necessarily think that he's going to continue these yak numbers that we've seen to this point. I just don't think that that's replicable either. So can he be a good player? Yes. I think his ideal sweet spot is to be like a 50 to 60 catch guy with 90 to 95 targets as a wide. Well, I think he's more of like an ideal wide receiver 3. But he's going to be our wide receiver 2. And I think they're going to force targets to him a lot. And I think that they're just going to yield kind of inefficient results. Now, I'm impressed with what I've heard I know it sounds bad, but I'm very impressed with what I've seen in the offseason from him. I think the improvement is noted. I think his release packages look better for sure. He may be learning from Shavers because Shavers got an elite release package as well. And I think he's been better in the stem of his routes. I think he's been better at snapping it off. I feel like his hands are really the only thing that I see holding him back with just concentration drops. He has really good hands and really good catch mechanics. He just has too many lapses in judgment, and hopefully he can kind of work through that a la James Cook and Dawson Knox, right? Sorry, I was long-winded. That's how I feel about Keon. With Kincaid, I had major issues with him coming out because we didn't have any athletic testing on him. He was an athletic tight end in a weaker Division I major conference. We don't really know if he's a really great athlete. We knew Brock Bowers was, right? But we don't know. He's a similar size player to Brock Bowers. We don't really know if he's that kind of guy, and it shows that he's kind of not. And I think part of the reason, hopefully the strength improves us, but he's having I can see when he's running routes, he has trouble with shedding defenders in a way where he can get physical with them. If he gets wrapped up a little bit, he can't really get away. And I think that impacts his ability to separate. That's why I think they run him downfield a lot instead of those little slide routes and, in breakers and out. Like the stuff I want him to do, all the 5 to 10 yard throw stuff like Kelsey does. I don't think he can work in traffic like that unless he does get a lot stronger. But I mean, I err on the side of his upside being better than Coleman's, just because of the style of player that he is. But I think that the team doesn't do him a lot of justice either, because they run him downfield a whole lot. I'm not one of these people that thinks that like we should be running Dalton Kincaid on go routes from the boundary and, like we're running them on flag route or corner routes, right? We're not really running them like the plays that are efficient that we really need a tight end to be good at. Like they don't do that with him enough, in my opinion.
Yeah. In my opinion, I do think he should run some corner routes. I think he's got a pretty good corner route, but the 4 routes I want him to run the most:
sure.
Seams, post, corners, and flats.
Yeah.
I think he's shown probably his best route is the flat route. I thought he's proved very good at those 1st and 10s, those flat routes where he gets 7 to 10 yards. And either now we're in 2nd and short or we get a new 1st down. He's really good at catching and turning up field right away. I feel like he's proven he can do that pretty smoothly and make a guy miss here or there. And I really like those routes. And then I think him tacking the intermediate route is huge for our offense. I think it opens up the run game. It opens up Shakir underneath more because the safeties have to play back a little more because of those. So those are the routes I'd like to see him run the most.
So I think the upside argument is kind of where all of it started too. And I think there's a clear delineation between what the upside means, right? Like when you talk about upside, we're talking about physical ability to do things that are high-end level plays, basically, that you can continue to repeat over time, basically. Can I continue to do things that work really well and I'm really good at these things? Can I continue to do those things? And if I'm not, how far off am I? And a lot of the reason I'm far off is because of Kincaid's case is strength, right? And hopefully he improved that. And he's had a pretty good camp too. I think we can see that. So hopefully he proves me wrong in that stance where he's got his strength up and he can do, because the things he does well, like the way he moves, is elite tight end movement skills, right? The way he catches and turns up field and just his movement and his feet and things like that are really, really good. Versus Coleman, his upside to me is limited, right? Because we're talking about an upside here of a wide receiver 2 that wins like T. Higgins, I guess, but I don't know if he has the kind of movement skills that T. Higgins does to run those kind of routes. Like T can run the whole route tree pretty effectively. I don't know if Coleman's ever going to be able to do that. And he's not athletic enough because, I mean, really his main athletic testing that came back that was elite was his vertical. And the rest of his stuff was, his broad jump was good too, but his 40 was really slow. I'm assuming his lateral agility testing would not have been great. Those are the things to translate to upside. It's like a quarterback saying, oh yeah, Brock Purdy's upside is elite. It's like, not really. Like his upside is being Drew Brees, but not many. That's a massive outlier. You know what I mean? So can he realize that potential? The likelihood is 0, near 0. But he's never, ever, ever going to be Cam Newton, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, like all these elite tier quarterbacks who really do have super high upsides. They're not going to do that. So it's the same thing for receiver. Like he's not going to hit upsides like Jamar Chase or CeeDee Lamb or stuff. He just doesn't have the skill set to do it.
Yeah. And then Randall did want to give his 2 cents in here. We see the comment. He does like Kincaid's upside a lot. He was kind of in the middle due to he believes that Coleman will just have more opportunities to prove his upside. Kind of like what you said, he's just going to get like force those targets in his emergent in camp.
Yeah.
He thinks that Kincaid would, if he hits his upside versus Coleman, if he hits his upside, would be a little bit harder to replace. I tend to agree with that because I think it's a little bit easier to find Coleman's type of receiver than if Kincaid can realize his potential and become a good blocker with those movement skills. But yeah, he leans Kincaid because of that, because if they both hit their upside, he thinks Kincaid's a little bit harder to replace in the offense, but he thinks there's a higher chance Coleman hits his upside just due to pure targets and being fed the ball more because Josh wanted Coleman and Coleman has these highlight plays and things like that. And it was this offensive coordinator regime that drafted Coleman. It's like, so that's kind of how, Randall,
I kind of agree with that.
Kind of similar. Yeah, I was going to say pretty similar to what you said. I tend to agree too. I think we're all similar-ish. I think I'm a little bit higher on Kincaid than you. I think that's really the difference, because I do think he's going to put that strength on. And with what I saw his rookie year, the Pittsburgh playoff game, the Cincinnati game, where they weren't even running the ball against Cincinnati. They just kept throwing it, and they just kept throwing checkdowns to him, and he was turning to 8-10 yard gains. And I'm like, why need to run the ball? We're doing this instead on first down. And that again, I said, that Pittsburgh game, and just he's shown, I think, more, and in bigger moments. I get people want to be like, oh, the drop. At least he has had a good playoff game. Coleman's yet to have that. Coleman was a nothing in the playoffs. Granted, I think a lot of it had to do with the injury. So I'm not saying he's a playoff choker or anything. He hasn't shown he can do it in the playoffs. Kincaid has had at least one really good game in the playoffs.
Yeah, he had his moment with it.
That, I think that's touchdown, and I think he had like 4 or 5 catches for like 70 yards and a touchdown against a good Steelers defense.
I think also, this is fair to say before we jump to our 53-man roster projection, so stay tuned for that. I think it's fair to say that Josh, throughout his whole career, has proven that he's a receiver quarterback, not a tight end quarterback. I'm not saying he can't, but he's never been a guy to use tight ends very often, or as often as maybe some other elite quarterbacks do to get themselves out of trouble. And maybe that's where we see some errant throws at times, right? Not utilizing the tight end effectively. And I think that's just part of it. Just with his arm strength, he's always trying to get the most out of every play. And for that reason, I think that he's always kind of favored throwing to the wide receiver room, and it's just, quarterbacks have preferences, like it's not conscious either. I think it's just the way he plays the game. It just ends up being a situation where he starts doing, I think he has to consciously think about throwing the ball to Dalton Kincaid, because you'll see this. I've noticed this since the first year, like even in the first year when he had a pretty good year, like Dalton would catch 2 or 3 passes in the first quarter and a half, and then we wouldn't see him again until the fourth quarter. I'd forget he's on the team, and then we're getting the fourth quarter. He catches a ball. I'm like, damn, like, where have you been for 2.5 quarters? And is it Josh or is it Kincaid that disappears? Right.
Yeah.
Is the wear and tear of the game, the physicality wear on him to make him less effective late. It's like playing defense in basketball, and you're playing tough defense the whole game. It takes away from your offensive game, Yeah. So that's kind of how I view it. I don't know if it's actually that's the case, but it seems like that there's something to this, because even before Kincaid got here, I've only remember only one game where Josh has ever targeted a tight end a whole lot, and that was the Kansas City Chiefs win in Arrowhead like 4 years ago. You remember that game?
Yeah.
The one where he blew him out. The one where he blew him out.
Oh, yeah. That Sunday night game where it was raining or whatever. And
Thursday or Sunday. It was Thursday.
That was a Sunday night. Yeah, I remember that. And the game didn't end till like 1 or 2 in the morning because there was the thunderstorm delay at halftime. Yeah.
All right. I want to share. I've got an Excel workbook for my 53-man roster. I've deleted a bunch of people off of this to make it easy and concise, but I have some highlights on it. If you want me to do it, I can do it that way.
I just have it notes on my phone.
We can just review it together. That's fine.
Yeah. I guess maybe I can go over mine. You can go over yours, and then we discuss. Or
sure.
Okay.
Can I zoom this real quick? Wait a second. I can zoom. Hold on. Give me 2 seconds.
Okay. Yeah, you're good.
I just want to get it moving in the right direction here. Yeah. All right, here we go. This is big enough, right? I'm just going to slide it through as it goes.
Okay.
And I know this is cheesy, but this is how I do my Excel workbooks with this stuff. So I have Josh and Mitch making the team. I think that's fair to say.
Quarterback, running back, like fullback tight. I think those 6 are pretty set in stone at this point.
Yep.
Not much a conversation there. Wide receiver, we've kind of already discussed.
So let me go over what the light brown means here. This is me. The Jordan Phillips thing threw me off. We know the answer now to the equation. He's going to be on the practice squad, which was, I guess, revealed earlier today. I don't even know who revealed it. Was it anyone?
It was Sal,
right?
Yeah. I don't know who revealed it before that, but the first thing I saw was Sal's tweet at 5.
Sure. So we've got. So I have things based on that in brown. I think the likelihood now is that we really do know who is going to be in the defensive tackle room. I don't think it's going to be. I think Jordan Phillips is there merely for injury purposes. I even had Daquan Jones here highlighted for a potential trade because people were talking about it. So we're going to limit that and just go back to normal there. And I think Curtis Samuel makes the team unless the trade happens. So I still have 6 wide receivers making the team. I got Shakir, Palmer, Coleman, Moore, Samuel, and Shavers. Laviska's getting cut. He'll probably be a practice squad candidate.
Yep.
Tight ends. You have any problems with the tight end room?
Nope. I think they go Haas over Zach Davidson because 1, he was a draft pick, and 2, because he's a great blocker, and we know how much Brady loves his tight ends who can block.
Absolutely. And then and you're good with the receivers too, by the way. You think
I have at this point with the injuries and suspension, I still hope when everyone comes back it goes down to 5.
Sure.
Just because there's other places I don't really want to cut players from, just because I think like for developmental purposes.
Yep.
So I would hope that Curtis Samuel would get traded unless he's healthy and he starts playing well. And then maybe it's Tyrell Shavers that unfortunately gets it, or I don't really want to see 6 throughout the entire year. That's because I just think offensive line, defensive line, and secondary could just use those extra spots more.
Yeah. Okay. So we're good. We're playing par for the course here up until tackle.
It's
which we might have our first disagreement here. Okay. Yeah. I have Dawkins, Brown, Vandermark, and Grable. I don't think this is just my opinion. I think Chase Lunt is a player that doesn't have a real position. I think he's too light in the pants to play guard. He's at 6'8" and 304 pounds. And I think that he has too short of arms to play tackle and be effective once we get into the regular season. I don't know why we would roster him. I think Kendrick Green's much more valuable being a center/guard. What are your thoughts?
See, I think that we drafted him because we want to develop him. And I think we'd keep him
on
the
practice squad.
You don't think he'd get scooped up by anyone?
Hell no. Why would anybody be like, man, I can't wait till Chase Lunt gets cut. I just don't think anybody's even thinking about him. I think he's a nothing burger 6-round pick that no one's thinking of. Only 22 guys got claimed out of 1,100 releases last year, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe I would just I think Kendrick Green is god awful. I thought last year in Houston he was absolutely terrible. And
I thought he's been okay for us this offseason though.
I just don't see the value. I'd rather keep Lunt. That's basically the only difference. The other 8 we had.
You swap Kendrick and Lunt. Are you adding anyone else? I know SVP Cedric Van Pran Granger, by the way, I have a little option over here.
Yeah, I have him on the pup.
He is on my IR pup list. One or the other. Hairston and Cedric Van Pran over there. Okay. See, I just don't think Lunt provides us any real value. I think he's got upside as a potential.
I like what Randall
developmental guy. Yeah, I guess. I mean, sure. I think he's fine. Like I said, I don't think he's a trash player. I just don't think he has a spot. I think that the guard position is going to be a nothing burger for him. I don't think he can even attempt to do that in real life. And I think at tackle, he is a 0 percentile arm length. I just don't know why. There's a reason they measure arm length for tackles. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's important.
Like,
I get that.
It is a very important.
It's same issue with Will Campbell, but even worse.
Yeah, way worse. Because Campbell, I think, measured in like 33 and like an eighth or something.
My
we're
thought
32
is
and like 3/8 with him.
My thought is that the Bills drafted him because they must have saw something. Is my thing is, so I think they'd want to keep on to him for that reason. Like I get you could be like, oh, they cut Hardy. I think that's a little different because I think they drafted Hardy for his his returning upside, and then they traded for Codrington, so that kind of took away Hardy's spot anyways.
So Green's kind of disagreeing and agreeing with what I'm saying here. He said that Kendrick Green is a better roster, but I think we lose Lunt on practice squad. I didn't know this. I learned this today from another podcaster. 22 players were picked up off waivers last year out of 1,100 cuts. I don't think he's one of the 22. Let's say it's 30. I don't think he's one of the 30. That's just my guess. That's my take on it. I think he clears waivers easily. I don't know. I don't think he's got that kind of upside.
My thing is with how deep our offensive line is and with how well we've been able to develop offensive linemen, I would not be surprised if another offensive team or another team looks at our own line and be like, let's take it. If the Bills thought like if the way the Bills been able to develop guys, let's take a shot here and see what we got. Maybe we could get lightning in a bottle there.
Yeah.
Just because of how well we've been able to develop and how well we've scouted talent, stuff like that. And yeah, maybe Kendrick Green might be better. Kendrick Green at this moment is definitely better.
Sure.
But at the same time, it's our 9th offensive lineman. I don't really think there's a chance that they see a snap all year.
Yeah.
Because this is our 9th offensive lineman until Cedric Van Granger.
You think there's anybody else that can make it outside of them?
Out of Lunt? No.
You don't think there's another guy?
It's Lunt or Green.
Okay.
No, I don't think so. Because then you got to think about when Van Granger comes back. He's obviously making the roster.
10th offensive lineman.
Are you going to keep a 10th offensive lineman? No, you probably cut Lunt then.
Probably, but you might. I mean, linemen are the ones that you can do because you can roster more people on game day if you roster them as linemen, right? So instead of 46, you carry 48, and because you can bring on a couple extra linemen, so it might keep 10. I'm not saying it's not like keeping 6 D tackles. I think it's more likely than that, and that makes sense.
The thing is, out of all this, we have to by week 7, unless there could be other injuries that pop up, but hypothetically, right now by week 7. We have to open up 4 roster spots based off this 53. So only 49 of these guys, unless players get injured, will be on the roster. Yeah. So we got to find spots to cut. And it's like, you're not cutting any of the quarterbacks, any of the running backs, any of the tight ends, unless you're cutting one of the tight ends for a different tight end, which you're going to keep 3 tight ends. I would rather cut Lunt than the 6 wide receivers, I guess, at this point. When Van Granger comes back. So it's like, then you'd have to look at defense, and I don't think there's 3 to 4 guys on this defense I'd want to see cut. Or I don't think there's 4 guys in this defense I'd want to see cut either. So
I wouldn't be surprised if Lunt made the team over Green, to be clear. I think there's definitely a possibility they like him a lot, and I think it could happen. I just don't want it. I wouldn't do it personally, so that's why I didn't. But I think it's so close that they both provide a certain level of upside. Kendrick Green has some center flex, and he's a guard. And I feel like we had the best 4 tackle combo in the NFL. Like our 4 tackles are better than everyone's. Now they're not top end, maybe not the best. I mean, they're probably top 5.
I think top end. I think if you're talking
top
about
5,
duo,
top 3 duo,
definitely top 3. I'd make an argument for top 2. Obviously, Philly's 1, but maybe Detroit. But
maybe Detroit. Detroit. I put Detroit maybe a little higher with Decker
probably. But I think Deion's better than Decker. I think Sewell's better than Brown. But it's like, how much that's where it's like super close where I guess I'd probably lean Detroit.
But as the group with a 4 though.
Oh yeah.
They're the best.
No, I agree. Because
I think we're the best backup
tackles. Vandemark and Grable. Vandemark showed last year in the Chiefs game. He filled in for Spencer Brown fine.
I feel pretty comfortable with
looked very good in his preseason / training camp stints. So I agree there.
Grable looked bad at guard, by the way. So I don't want to pat myself on the back here, because there's a lot of people that have said that Grable is going to be like the next David Edwards and take his spot because of the same height and weight, and they're totally different types of players. Like Grable's perfect tackle.
Who knows? Maybe when we bring David Edwards back,
I think he's fine.
We can easily create the cap space to do that. I think if they let McGovern walk, I'd want to bring Edwards back in at least a 1 year, and then you probably draft his replacement day 2. Would be my guess, and you let him develop for a year. Because I think David Edwards is fine also. And then you or maybe you draft 2 guys, because then with Torrance is hypothetical free agent too. But you have Van Granger replace McGovern. I think that's probably the most likely scenario. But that's the offseason talk. Yeah.
So we have one difference here so far. We're not going to talk about special teams because I feel like there's no real argument. Defensive end, Joey Bosa, Russo, Epinesa, Jackson, and Solomon. Are we pretty much lockstep on that?
Yeah, I agree. I think when Hoyt comes back, I'd like to see Epinesa gets traded.
Maybe, or Solomon, they stop worrying about the project.
I mean,
he hasn't had a good camp.
That would frustrate me because
camp.
Mediocre.
Hasn't been great. Hasn't been bad. There's no real.
It's just Epinesa is just a nothing burger to me. At this point, it's like the style of defensive end he is. We have 3 of them already. We have 4 of them with the big body can defend the run, but isn't this overwhelming pass rusher. We already have. We just drafted Landon Jackson. We have Greg Rousseau. We have Joey Bosa, Michael Hoyt. We already have 4 other ones like that. And you're not getting rid of any of those 4.
I do think Hoyt could be
5 of those. At least Javon Solomon's a different type.
Hoyt's level of athleticism gives me thoughts that he could be a really high end pass rusher. He's just so athletic and so explosive, and his size and explosiveness together, like he's just a wrecking ball. I just don't think he ever got the chance to play like and be the starter
too.
I know what I'm saying. Like he's just such a moving chess piece.
Yeah, you can literally play him all 4 spots. You can even drop him into coverage occasionally. Wouldn't want to see it more than once or twice a game.
Sure,
you can do it.
Right.
You can run little stunts with it at least.
Absolutely. And the D tackle, are we changing our mind on this? I mean, based on what they said today about Phillips, I think we're back to Oliver, Jones, Sanders, Walker, Carter, and then once Ogunjobi comes back, he takes Carter's spot if Carter's not pulling his weight, right?
Yeah, probably. I really hope Carter's pulling his weight, but again, they're playing him out of position.
Yeah.
And which is just frustrating because I will continue to say this until I'm red in the face. Weeks 5 through 7, Dwayne Carter last year was the best defensive tackle play the Bills had all season.
Sure.
It was the beginning of the year, he was terrible. Like the Cardinals game, the Dolphins game, he was awful. Then he started getting a little bit better. Ed Oliver was out. He finally got some playing time. He was a wrecking crew. And then he got injured and then was bad after the injury. And it's like, I would have loved to see a full season out of him if he a rookie D tackle that got a wrist injury. It's kind of understandable why he struggled because the wrist is pretty important for hand fighting, which is one of the most important things a defensive tackle needs. Especially a 3 tech.
Yeah, and my thought process when I heard the Phillips thing was everybody kept talking about Ogunjobi maybe getting cut, but I'm like, that didn't really fix the problem, right? Ogunjobi being cut, he's not playing anyway. You're still have 6 defensive tackles, so one of either Carter or Jones is probably going to have to go.
Jones, but probably not because he's
probably not
most 1 tech. But I'm hoping Carter can look good at 1 tech, so then they are good enough where at least he's like maybe Jones looks a little bit better, but it's like, all right, we're gonna opt for the depth, we're gonna opt for the youth and the cap in this situation and get rid of Daquan, which is what I'm hoping.
I think they could change Deion Walker up. Deion Walker's style doesn't really lend to it, but I think changing up his game plan, the way he approaches it a little bit, if we're just like, hey, this is the game, you got to do X, Y, Z in these downs, I think he could probably hold up at 1 tech, but just because sheer size, he can just take on blockers. Not to say that's his best move because clearly he's just a giant 3 tech, but so we'll see about that. All right, so we agree there. So we're all in agreement except for one play. Matt Milano, Dorian Williams at outside linebacker, and then inside linebacker, I labeled Jack Thompson as an inside linebacker, but Bernard, Thompson, and Dreesen. We got any disagreements there?
I just put linebacker. I just put
that's fine. Yeah. What do you think? Is that who you have? The 5?
Yeah.
Though? You do?
Yeah, okay. No, that's who I have.
No West Point?
No one else.
I keep hearing he should be on the team. I think people are just falling in love with the story too much.
Kind of the same thing about 6 receivers. I just don't see the value in keeping 6 linebackers. I know they've done it in years past, but unless there's an injury, I mean, I get with like injuries and stuff, but I think 5 is fine.
This is where the Hoyt coming back in 6 weeks, this is the spot it takes, right? Because we did run 6 linebackers, I think, last year. I think they're going to run with 5 as long as injuries don't prohibit it. And then we put Ulofocio on the practice squad, and then Hoyt ends up taking the spot as a kind of a hybrid type player who can drop into coverage occasionally and just be effective, like on a play to not a play to play basis, but one-off plays. The D tackle position is gonna be a little bit different, trickier to kind of manage, I think. But okay, and then what about corner?
I got Benford, Troy White, Dorian Strong, Tehran. I guess Cam Lewis looks like he's more likely to win the backup nickel, and then Hancock at safety. So I'll go Cam Lewis, Dane Jackson, and Brandon Codrington.
Okay. So you don't have Ingram?
I mean, it's between Ingram and Dane Jackson, and since I'm keeping Codrington, and I would love Ingram, but it's who do I trust more to play an outside corner role, especially week 1 against the Ravens team? Like I'm going to shoot for the safety and Dane Jackson.
I don't know, dude. Dane just looked like trash. I just can't. He was getting cooked by second, third stringers all game, the last game. I mean, every time I look, I'm like, he just looks out of position. I feel like he just kind of lost it.
I wouldn't be mad if it's not like, oh, why are you keeping Jamarcus Ingram over Dane? I get it. Kind of opt for the safety there.
Yeah. We're in a weird predicament.
It's one of them two's making it till
Dorian will get snatched. Will get snatched.
Oh yeah, Dorian has to make this roster, or you just basically wasted that pick.
He slipped pretty far in the draft. Like he was supposed to be I had him like a 4th round grade. He drops to the 6th. I think most teams the corner run ended and then they got forgotten about, just kind of like quarterbacks do. The run happens and then people start focusing on other positions, and I think that's what happened to him. I think if he goes, he'd be the most ideal one to be snatched up by other teams would be him. And then I guess at safety we've got the same guys.
Yeah, Rap Bishop.
Are you putting Hairston on IR?
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah.
Okay. That's my thing. Hey, we have 161 people in the chat, or not in the chat, but watching. Please like, subscribe, and put a comment. We will respond to you. And thank you.
We have 3 differences then.
Yeah, we had 3 differences, which I think probably is pretty common.
Yeah.
Right. I think everyone's going to have like a 95% certainty on who they're picking. So, I mean, I don't know why we do these lists, but.
No, I got a new idea. We're not even going to keep a punter. Zach Davidson's making the team.
Bro, that was a kick, bro. That was kick.
I saw him punting. I'm like, oh, this is going to be for fun. And then he boots it way over their head. Me and my friends are watching it. We're just like, what is this? Oh, my God.
Dude, it was 64 yards.
We have an E-Bug kicker and E-Bug punter now. It's nice.
Yeah, I mean, if you could be the 3rd tight end, it might be worth it to keep the.
I mean, it's like basically between Davidson and Hawes is, do you want the blocker or do you want the special teams? Because Davidson's a great special teams, or Hawes is a great blocker. I just think they go Hawes because, one, they just drafted in the 5th round, and it's pretty rare. Cool. It's pretty rare draft picks.
I agree with it too.
Get caught. I agree too.
I wasn't a fan at first because I was like, I like Davidson. I think he could fill in for Morris.
Me too,
pretty well.
But I think Hawes could be a better version of Morris.
And it'll keep Alec Anderson off the field. I think that's what they want. They want a threat. I like Anderson.
It's just when you run the 6-0 lineman, even with how good it was all right, we're running the ball. It's pretty rare we threw it. Now with Hawes, it's like we have in the 6 offensive lineman, but he at least has some receiving upside.
And Cromer said that Jackson Hawes is the best blocking tight end he's ever worked with. And he's worked with guys like Lee Smith. So that's a pretty high level praise for a rookie, you know? It's just his technique is good. I did too.
I hated those days with Lee Smith. I was so happy when we traded him.
Yeah. So what do you think the last 5-6 minutes here? What are your ideas on the corner position and how it's going to look week 1? Are we thinking that? I mean, I'm starting to think Trey and Max are both inactive for that game.
I don't really know. I would like to just be cautiously optimistic that Trey's going to play. So I'm going to speak that into the universe and say he's playing.
Me too. But here's the other thing.
It's tough.
He doesn't look good. He doesn't look good at football right now. I mean, even before he got hurt, he was fading. After he left St. John Fisher, he hasn't looked very good by all reports. Everyone has said it.
I agree. I mean, all I know is there's a pretty decent shot. I'm starting Rashad Bateman in one of my fantasy leagues. Is all I'm gonna say. Zay Flowers.
That's the other question. How does that look? Right? Zay Flowers plays a fair amount on the outside in addition to the slot.
But Zay Flowers has never done anything against. I mean, he's only played 1 game against us, and I think he had 0 catches. So, I mean, part of that was game script, but also part of it is
getting physical with him is a
I think we can stop Zay pretty well, and likely will be huge. We can focus on Mark Andrews, but I think Bateman. I think Lamar will at least be able to have 1 deep shot with Bateman. I'm just worried about when that'll happen because we're going to focus so much on stopping the Mark Andrews and Derrick Henry. I think I would be I would not be shocked at all when I see a play action 60-yard bomb to Bateman right over Jamarcus Ingram / Dane Jackson / Trey
Hamlin.
Well, Hamlin's going to be the safety. It's just which corner is going to also cook. That's not Benford.
I think Benford being on. See, this is how I would prefer it. Put Benford on Bateman, right?
And the double
lock
Zay.
him up. And then put
The
Taryn
Belichick
on
tree.
Zay as long as he's in the slot. But I mean, we're going to run a lot of zone too. So like, it's kind of hard to say all these things with a straight face, because it's not going to be like we're going to match up all game.
Yeah.
But, and then ideally I'd like a longer corner, like an Ingram on DeAndre Hopkins.
Because he's not very much of a separator at this point.
He's not, and you just gotta knock him off of his game. You don't have to do anything crazy. Just don't get beat, and don't let him catch over you and moss you. I mean, that would require Lamar to have a high level of accuracy to pull that off. I don't know if he's that kind of quarterback. He throws to a lot of wide open receivers. I think he had the highest wide open rate last year.
It was like not even close.
Yeah. So,
and I mean, quick point. I mean, yes, part of that is because of Lamar's rushing ability, but a lot of that also had to do with just the duo of having Derrick Henry and Lamar.
It's also Henry, the way you have to play them. The two tight ends, they've got two tight ends that are amazing.
Yeah, you have to worry about the read option with Lamar and Henry. Yes, it's Lamar, but it's also Henry. Josh never had that, and they know this is an MVP conversation, but that's why I think you should have won MVP. Is
exactly
Josh didn't have that. You had to game plan against Josh. That's how you stop the Bills.
No one
is good. You're game planning against Derek. Yeah, you're not game planning against Cook. You're game planning. I mean, you're game planning against both, but you're definitely game planning against Derek Henry.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you seen how the Bills played him in the playoffs?
They're just spying Josh. At last year is what they were doing. I do think our receiver room's better this year. We have another year of improvement from Keon. I think that's a thing.
I think our tight end room is better.
Palmer is a better version, I think, of Amari at this point. I think we know Amari's cooked. I just don't think I even saw it last year. We were like, look at all this.
I think Coleman can be Coleman and Mac from last year, or at least close to it.
Sure, that's fine.
Then you had Elijah Moore to be even just more depth.
Yeah. I think Shavers can fill in too for a Hollins type role when they need him, right?
Yeah.
And Elijah Moore is a better route runner and a better actual wide receiver than Curtis Samuel is. And then we still have Curtis Samuel on the team, right? So there's an improvement there. Tight ends a little bit better. I think that the scheme's going to work better with these three tight ends that we have with Hawes instead of having Alec Anderson in there all the time. That really keys us off to be pretty much a run almost all the time when we do 13 personnel.
And also, my bad for cutting you off.
No, you're good.
We also saw a lot more play action this year, which if anyone's ever seen me watch a Bills game, that's literally the entire game. I just play action. I just want as much play action as you can call without it being obvious when you call play action. Just whatever that Josh Allen and play action goes together like peanut butter and jelly.
Yep, like cigarettes and beer.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't smoke.
It's a beer.
I just thought it was funny because it really is like that.
Beer.
Chicken wings and beer.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say I'm born in the 80s, so everyone used to smoke. So what I would say is I do think that and I lost my train of thought now with this, but yeah, I lost my train of thought. What were you talking about?
I'm sorry.
I got thrown off by all the cigarettes and the peanut butter. Yeah. Anyway, I just think that the offense is going to be more clean. I think a happy James Cook is a good James Cook for us. I think that the scheme will work better based on the personnel we have now versus before. We can be more versatile, more multiple in the things we can do. We have more guys who can separate now. And then that doesn't leave so much to the weight of having to make 50-50 balls and things like that with Josh all the time. On defense, I think there's a potential to be better. I think the pass rush will be better with Joey Bosa. The question is how much can the corner room carry when things fall apart?
My thing is I think it's definitely better just because even with our cornerback 2 issue, Rasul was bad last year anyway, so it's not
awful. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Actually, it's not much different, right?
Yeah. Our secondary is probably about Max can get healthy and take it to the next level, but our secondary looking right now is probably going to be about the same, but the D-line depth and upside 10 times better than last year.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the depth is way better, especially
healthy Milano is huge to this team.
Yeah, and that's why I'm glad we're playing the Ravens week 1. I think it's a hard matchup, but a healthy, fresh Daquan Jones, the rookies coming in with a lot of juice. Matt Milano, fresh, healthy, like knock on wood. And then A healthy Taylor Rapp as well. I think that's important that we don't talk about enough. I think when he played, healthy Tehran, healthy Bernard, right? Like we're coming in healthy against them to play them because we're going to need everyone to stop that offense because it really is tough. I mean, I think likely is going to change the way they do things. You can't key in like we couldn't key in on the tight end position at all because we were getting mixed up and everything else. Like I remember likely was catching, backside of the play throws when, because we're all going this way and Mark Andrews was the primary target or whatever. And we
also didn't help that Balin Spector was in there.
Yeah. And we have Spector and a lot of these other linebackers that just can't cover people. So now we have the ability to cover a little bit, I think, as long as we can keep them healthy. And I think we can mitigate the cornerback 2 position a little bit.
Yeah. I'm not scared of Charlie Collar out.
No, I'm not. I think the main thing is now we can key in on the run more and then not be so thrown off. And the pass rush, I think, too. I think is going to make them think twice.
Because I think their right side of the line has not looked very good. I mean, Linderbaum's good. Ronnie Stanley's good. But I obviously...
Well, they got Falele is on the on the right side. He's not good.
I basically muted every Ravens fan I come in contact with on Twitter at this point. So I don't see much Ravens anymore. Just for like my mental health because just I'm not even going to get into that.
Yeah.
So I don't see much, but what I have seen is a lot of complaining about that right side of the offensive line. So I think we might be able to key off on that. Yeah.
I think you're right. I think we'll be able to attack their O-line a little differently than we did last year. Even in the first game we got destroyed. Like I don't think we came into that game prepared. Like I think McDermott was like, we're going to play nickel and we're going to just do what we do. And we won't get beat by because we've held Henry in check a couple times in McDermott's tenure. And they just punched us in the mouth the first play. And I was like, this game's over. Like, I hate to say that, but like, I could feel it. You can just feel the momentum was like, it was too big of a punch. It was like a knockout hit by Tyson, So yeah, but I was going to wait this out till we got to 200 views, but it's been sitting at 186 for like 5 minutes. So we're just going to cut the stream because we're over an hour. This is what we want to do is go an hour. You got anything else before we get off?
Go Bills.
Awesome. All right. Please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section. My wife told me to say that y'all should put comments about what you want our next show to be about because she thinks that's helpful. I told her it was silly, but she tells me what to do.
Understandable.
Go Bills.
For the best Italian food in Western New York, Elliot Apollos, call 716-825-3675. The Lardon Construction Group.
Fubo TV, the official streaming service of Do Champions. FanDuel, the official sportsbook of Do Champions.
For all your summertime needs, beauty pools, as well as kayak pools.
CX Chronicles, your total customer solutions focused manager. W.GG, the official energy drink of Do Champions.
Hey, Sons of Erie, our artwork looks better on your walls. Hamburg Brewing, please visit our tap room on Boston State Road, Hamburg, New York. And finally,
Fat Boy Surf Club for all your surfing needs.